Everybody, welcome back to Readers of the War Game. Today we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about some stories I'd like to see in Warhammer 40k. And to be clear, we're not going to be talking about the Primarchs coming back or major plot points. I'll do another video about that later. But today I want to talk about some cool story ideas that I've kind of had that I would love to see represented more in 40k. Whether that be units that are kind of forgotten, or story types that I think would fit really well in the 40k universe that haven't really been told yet. So let's dive into it. I'm going to just give you a brief outline of the idea I was hoping for, as well as the faction that I'd like to see. And to make this clear, I also kept it pretty simple. So one Space Marine unit, one Chaos Space Marine unit, just because there's a lot of other faction ideas that could come with those as well. And if you'd like to hear more about those, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I'll do a follow-up video to this as well, focusing on either the Imperium or Chaos or whatever factions you guys want to hear more on as far as ideas go. So the first one is one that is a type of story that I've always loved reading. And it's those 80s Cold War style spy thrillers. So think Tom Clancy or Jason Bourne or James Bond. Well, you have a Space Marine Legion that could pull this off perfectly. And that is the Ravenguard. Can you imagine a Tom Clancy-style Special Forces mission where a squad or platoon of Ravenguard are sent in to a hive world to try and thwart a group of Genestealer cults that have come to their attention during the Daemons Crusade? I mean, you're going to see a lot of the big shooting, fighting style books in the Daemons Crusade. But what about that sneaky espionage where you have both factions that can't be found out because the government would not be okay with it? It's Mechanicus run, and the Ravenguard don't really get along with Mechanicus super well, and the Genestealer cults definitely don't. So you've got to try and find that balance, whether you do Mechanicus or Night World. Give it some stakes so that they have to both stay secret while executing their mission, and it could be a fabulous story. It's one that I would love to see. I don't know if I'm the best one suited to write it, but it is one I would love to see for sure. And honestly, if GW would ever give me a shot, I would try and tackle it. I have written some semi-spy thriller stuff, nothing that's been published yet, but it's one that I love to read, so I think I could do a decent job with it. The next one is one that I think would just be fun. And that is one I'm calling the Ultimate Siege. Give me the best siege units possible. And that is a showdown between the Iron Warriors and the Imperial Fists. That is a massive duel over a world that is currently split. Go full World War I with trench lines and sappers and fortresses and all of that push and pull back and forth. And honestly, I don't know if I'd actually tell it from the perspectives of the Space Marines. I would tell it from the perspectives, do two characters, do a Kriegsguardsman, because you'd have the Krieg there. If you're the Imperial Fists, that just makes sense in an Ultimate Siege. As well as some Chaos Cultist or Dark Mechanicum Thrall, whose job it is to basically do the same thing the Kriegsguardsman is doing. Moving through the trenches, holding lines, doing the things that the Space Marines can't do because they don't have the numbers to do it. And it could be a spectacular story. Because you could go full 1917 with the story, show all of the difficulties and struggles of trench warfare, but then on top of all of that, with the common enemy across the trench, you've also got these semi-godlike beings who show up and can just rip your world apart at a moment's notice, and you just have to deal with it. It could be a really, really cool military thriller that hasn't really been done in 40k, but you have all of the pieces to do. And this would be one that I would really, really love to do, basing it around some of the major conflicts over World War I, as well as the Siegfried Line during World War II. You do have a lot of those very famous sieges, or even just the beaches of Normandy. You do have a lot of those that could easily be pulled on to create a really, really cool story with a lot of historical references that tells a very different story from Hero Hammer that you get a lot, especially when the Ultramarines are involved, where just a single squad of Space Marines shows up, wreaks havoc, and then that's the end of the story. So next, let's move past the Space Marines. I know I did say that one would be a Chaos Space Marines. You could do it through the perspective of the Iron Warriors. That could be fun. But I almost would rather see the average person's point of view there. So I don't know if you do base it around the Iron Warriors, but give me a bunch of interludes based off of the Kriegsguardsmen and the Cultist, and really show me everything that's involved, how everything is managed, and how people are trying to survive in that full-on hellscape. Now, let's move on to Xenos. For the Xenos, I've got to go with my Votann. I'm sorry, there's just a couple of short stories, and that is it. It's something that is deeply missing from the Votann, but has so much potential. You can do anything from a group of Jaegers who are exploring an Imperial world and trying not to get caught and not to have anyone realize that their Ironkin is not a servitor. And just trying to balance that would be so hard. But the story that I think I would want to write is the discovery of a lost Votann out on some world that has seen hundreds of battles, and everyone's trying to control it because, right, maybe in the Cicatrix Maledictum, or one of the different places throughout that is crucial to the larger story as a whole. And the kin are trying to rescue a Votann while trying not to get embroiled in the Indominus Crusade or sneaking around behind Gilliman's back to try and get this AI out of there safely and in one piece while a war is raging across the entire planet. Or trying to take it back from chaos, or trying to take it back, prevent the Tyranids from stripping it because it has other resources on it that they need. There's a lot of different directions you could go with a story like that would be a lot of fun, give a lot of weight to the Votann, and really show you what they're about. And it's got a lot of fruit to it. It's one that I think I would thoroughly enjoy writing. Okay, next. There's another faction that is often left behind for perspective in books. They're often in books, but you don't get their perspective at all. And that is Chaos Demons. Now, there is a lot of different directions you could go. The idea that I had, that if I were writing it, how I would handle it, is I would have a team up between Vashdor and one of the Chaos Gods. I'm a little biased. I'd pick Tzeentch. So I would have Tzeentch and Vashdor trying to steal some hive worlds and forges from one of the other gods. Personally, I think I'd probably go Khorne, maybe Nurgle. I don't know if Slaanesh would be very good for the story. I don't think it would have as much of an appeal. I think Khorne would probably be your best bet. So having Vashdor as your main character, teaming up with Tzeentch, so you have a lot of Tzeentch demons alongside his demons, going up against Khorne and everything he's got, would be a really fun story, because between Vashdor and all of his mechanical things, and Tzeentch in his sneaky shenanigans against a blunt wall of Khorne, you'd get a lot of really cool stories and a lot of cool side quests that would really give us a picture of what it's like to be in the Eye of Terror and what it's like to be a demon and what that actually means for a story. Vashdor is the closest we've ever gotten, which is why I would pull him into the story as the main character. It gives you something relatable that you can pull from. Okay. Now, this last one is one that I think has been attempted a few times but has not actually succeeded, and that's the Admech. There are some decent Admech stories in the Horus Heresy that I've found. I have yet to find any good 40k or true 40k stories based on the Admech. I would probably pit them against an unknown Xenos. It'd be a fun way to introduce something new. And I would put them out on their outer edge of the galaxy, looking for lost STLs, trying to figure out what's going on. You could also reverse it, put the Votann, have them trying to penetrate into the core, because they believe there's a lot of artifacts and technology there from when the humans tried to press in and became the ancestors of the Legions of Votann. So there's a lot of cool things you could do that way as well. And there's a lot of other stories that I think could be a lot of fun to tell as well. If you have any story ideas that you think would be fun, or factions you think need stories told, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to do a follow-up on this based entirely on your suggestions. If you have any other suggestions for books I should read, stories that are similar to these, or any other cool 40k things you'd like me to talk about or cover, let me know in the comments below as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got a lot of really cool stuff coming over the next few weeks. And if you guys ring that little notification bell, it'll allow you to make sure you don't miss any of the fun stuff we have coming. And I'll see you guys next time.